Hey guys, Molly Carmel here, fiercely devoted to your freedom, to say the least. And we're here close to the kitchen. So excited. So many people coming on board. This is amazing. Hey everyone. So listen, I'm going to get right to business because we have a lot to do. We are in the season. Hey Shira, we're in this. Tis the season. And here's the thing. I have a lot to say today. Like, put on your comfies because I'm going to be talking is what I want to tell you. There's a lot to say. There's just a lot to say. This is our time. This is what I say at Pekin. This is our tax season. Hi everyone. Love you all. Love you all. So good to see everybody. So listen, I want to so we talk so much about like this Bermuda Triangle. And I think the thing I want to say first, and I'm going to say this through our whole series. So listen, from now for a while, like, I don't know, definitely through Christmas, we're just going to be talking about tips. Like, we're just going to be talking about like what to do, how to do, and how to do it well. We talk like so much about like self-love and blah, blah, blah. Like, listen, tis the season. Oh my God, Jules Brave. Tis the season. So about like hardcore actionable skills. We can talk all about like self-love and self-esteem, the things that I like live and die for talking about some other time. Right now, we need to stay dry. We need to stay warm during the hurricane season. Because here's the other thing that sometimes we lose sight of in it, like, and myself included, like when I'm writing, I'm like, it's the Bermuda Triangle, blah, blah, like, holiday season can also be fun. Can we just we need to just like put that into like the idea. Yes, as Lisa is saying over on Facebook, plan, 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 plan. I'm a huge believer in planning. I mean, fail to plan, plan to fail, for real. We'll talk more about that as the time goes on. But it's like we can really create an experience here if we are thoughtful and skillful and planful, that like, not just to get through the holidays. Like, we didn't come this far to get like through the holidays. Like, no way, no thank you. I want a big, gigantic life and I want it to be fun and exciting. And that's how we're going to like. So I do love me the Bermuda Triangle analogy. I use it constantly. I've used it for a million years, as long as I've been doing this. But the thing I want to remind us all is like the end game is actually to like enjoy the holidays. And when we can get our relationship with food in really good, solid order, then we can really find like new ways to enjoy our time. If we're with our family or if we're just sort of reflecting on the holiday season, I know it is like, OMG, the weirdest time of all time to be having a holiday season. But nevertheless, we persevere, right? We are breaking up as sugar warriors and we persevere. So anybody else feel like at 8 o'clock, it's like 2 in the morning? I mean, it took me everything to get here. I am so obsessed with you all. I'm so happy to be here. So we're going to talk about 3 hard skills today, and we're going to talk about it every single week. So the first skill I want to talk about is, it's a very controversial, actionable skill. And so if you're, and this is a skill we can use not just during this time, but we can actually use it it's a skill of all seasons, and it's about asking questions. It's about calling ahead and asking questions. And it's just like the safest, most loving thing that you can really do. Like, hey, Mish, what are you guys serving for the pre-Thanksgiving dinner? Oh my God, that's so interesting. Okay, so turkey and some cranberry sauce and some stuffing. And in my head, I'm like, okay, so I'll have the vegetable. I'm planning out my meal. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Lots of people have lots of, not as easy as it sounds, Molly. I hear you. Because as you're creating this new relationship with food, we get more or less comfortable. Some shame comes up, right? I don't want to bother them. I mean, it's kind of a different topic for a different time. We have so much to go over today. But suffice it to say, and I just want to remind you of this, and I write it. It's actually my friend Jess, it's her line. I stole it and I put it in my book. I told her though. But the thing I just want to remind you of, you guys, is like almost everybody is on their own individual food journey, right? So asking questions is just a straight act of self-love. Look, there I am talking about self-love. What's a close the kitchen with Molly without talking about self-love? It's a straight act of self-love. And like, I just don't think it's so bothersome. I mean, maybe you have friends that are incredibly like jellyfish and they sting really easily. And if you call them, and bother them, I'm not sure how bothersome it is. I think it's a question that people who are breaking up a sugar ask what's being served. I think people with food allergies ask being served. I think people who are on fad diets. I mean, just think everybody's asking this question. So I love it over here. Lisa, you are like winner, winner, chicken dinner over here. Lisa's like, and I agree, the more you do it, the easier it gets. Agreed, 1,000,000,000%. But one size doesn't fit all. I'm not here to speed up your process. If you're like in a space where like, guess what's not happening? Guess who's definitely not calling ahead for food? I'm feeling too embarrassed. I don't want to bother them. Whatever it is, cool, be in that space. But as a consolation prize to me, can you just sort of pinky swear it out that you'll consider moving forward on this one? Because being willing to ask questions just makes your life so much easier. And you get to walk in with such a beautiful game plan and not have to be like kind of scurrying around. It's just literally one of the easiest, nicest things you can do. Also, flip the script. Are you really annoyed if somebody calls you when you're having a dinner party and they're asking you what you're serving? I mean, you guys know me. Well, during quarantine, I've learned how to cook, but generally ain't a chef here. So if somebody called me for my dinner party, I would tell them what I'm ordering. And then I'd ask if they wanted anything else, right? So I think a lot of the time when we have this perception of how burdensome we're going to be, flipping the script's like a great idea. It's like a great idea because we can think about how we would receive it, and it's likely that everyone else is going to receive it. Also, a lot of people are like water off a duck's back, with this kind of stuff. So I don't think it's going to make a permanent impact on any relationship that you have to ask what's for dinner. Okay. But let's just say that's not your skill. I'll stay with that. They're all my favorite skills. I was going to say, here's my other favorite skill. They're all my favorite skills, but this is a really good one. BYO. Bring your own. If you're not like feeling like you can ask ahead, then one of my most favorite things is to bring your own. I am famous for BYOC. Like I'm famous for a bring your own carb at like a brunch. Well, when we used to have, brunches with all the bagel stuff, I bring my like Mary's Gone crackers, and it came to a point where I had to start bringing like my Mary's Gone crackers and then Mary's Gone crackers for everybody else. Cause everyone's like, ooh, what are you eating? Ooh, can I try one? And I was like, well, I'm having my serving, but you can try some of mine. So this idea of bringing your own to a party does allow for you to not have to ask ahead. And there's a lot of different ways to bring your own. Again, depending on your level of comfort. I love the idea of bringing your own for everybody, right? So I love the idea of bringing like a shrimp cocktail platter, or bringing like a big salad with like some protein in it, or bringing some kind of like, this is sort of where I'm limited in my ability to help you. Just kidding. But if you bring we just made at my house, we just made this like lentil chicken brown rice soup. I mean, the point is it's endless, like, and you just bring it over and it's good for you and it's good to go, right? Yes, we stan BYO for everyone. The alternative to that, side note, which is not my favorite, but of course I've done it, is just BYO, right? So this is not a holiday thing, but I'm pretty notorious for carrying around a sweet green. I don't know if anyone knows what that is. It's a salad restaurant in a bunch of places, but I'll just come to someone's house and have brought my lunch with me, even though no one asked me to, right? So if you want to just like bring your own stuff just for you, I think that's like an easier way than calling ahead, and it's totally reasonable. Remember this if you remember anything tonight, okay? I'm going to promise you this. You are not going to be the only, if you're at an event that has like a bunch of people at it, you're not going to be the only person who has some kind of specialized food need. Like the world is just so different these days, right? There's the gluten people, there's the paleo people, there's the sugar flour people. Everybody's on their own individual food journey. So it's a lot more acceptable than you think it is. You know what I mean? Okay. Here's my final tip for today. Tip number 3. So first tip, call ahead, ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. You're not a burden. You're awesome. And can I just say one more thing about that? I know I'm like a broken record over here. I'm really pulling my like aunt godmother card here. I'm like just being like a little bit like annoying, but like I can't help it because it's just such a wonderful skill of self-care to just know what is going to be in front of you when you get somewhere. So it's like, can you just also think of it as such an act of self-love? And there's this phrase, it says, say what you mean, but don't say it mean. And so I think it matters, like how you say it, how like easy and gentle you are when you ask, and be funny and cute, whatever. I just think it's the kind of skill you want to have in your tool belt. And so if you're balking at this particular skill about calling ahead, can you just have a little like convo with your heart and just figure out like, well, what's at the root of it? What feeling? Who loves the feeling wheel? What feeling am I having? It's likely something like shame or embarrassment. And then I want you to dig deeper and I want you to try to get the story that you're telling and then decide if it's worth it to you to get to live your life by that story. Is it worth sacrificing peace, contentment, preparedness because of a story you're telling about being too much or being annoying or whatever it is, which for the 40 people that are on this, like, I'm obsessed with you. You're brave. You're amazing. You're the opposite of annoying, in my humble opinion. We can have a virtual Thanksgiving together. I think we're having steak at my Thanksgiving. So that's how it goes over here in Stanford. Tip number 3. Okay. So like the end. Okay. If you're having the party at your house, the Thanksgiving, the Christmas, you're having it at your house, the end of the night comes, and there's just so much extra food. And this is where the 2 most dangerous things that come out of our mouths are, right? It's fine and it's no big deal. Let me tell you a little something about that. I'll say this once, I'll say it 1,000 times. It is never fine and it is always a big deal. Because the thing is that at the end of the night, your resources, your willpower, all of it, your ability to say no, your ability to make choice, you have decision fatigue and you just have general fatigue. It's not the time to have leftovers at your house. It's not the time for you to have like wrapped up the like little macaroons and like put them in the freezer, right? Or like had the like extra cake and like have it in the cabinet. It just starts talking effectively. It's like why we made close the kitchen during quarantine. So, if you're at someone's house, like I wouldn't take home leftovers that are going to start talking to you, right? And in that vein, I would not recommend keeping food in your house that's going to be talking to you. One of my favorite phrases I heard somewhere along the way, right? It's like you either waste it in the garbage can or you waste it on the belly. It's a little off color for how I talk, but I think it's really relevant, right? Because so much of the time we're like, oh, I don't want to waste the food. Somebody will eat it. Somebody in my house will have it. But at the end of it, a lot of times it's us that's having it. And we're creating a story that's unnecessary in our relationship with food and our relationship with ourselves. You guys, this thing about decision fatigue, right? Of having to, when you're at like an event, we're going to talk more about this next week for sure. Okay. But when you're having events, like there are so many vulnerabilities, right? There's the people, there's the food that you don't usually have. This year, there's like the COVID and the sadness and the weirdness and the overwhelmedness. Like, I want you to really think about as we go through this series of hard skills, right? Like, what can I do to make this as easy as possible for myself? What can I do to make this this is like a whole new way of thinking. Not what can I do to make it easier for everyone else? Not what can I do to be the hostess with the mostest? What can I do to make this easy and seamless for myself? I mean, if you polled my family, they'd be like, when Molly plans, we all happy, right? When Molly plans, like we all happy about it because I'm calmer, I'm happier, I'm more secure because I don't have to be thinking about the food. It's already done, right? It's already done. I've called ahead. I figured out what I'm going to do. Maybe I've brought something, right? Maybe I've brought something. And like, I'm not getting involved in any sort of leftover after. These are acts of self-love. And, you know, we're doing a free webinar the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, but I'll give you a little, and I would love all of you to come. The more the merrier, you know, and bring like 4 friends. The more the merrier, you know how I feel about it. But I just want to say, like, I remember, and I'll tell you this over and over, but I remember the first year that I just decided to play the game with this. You know what I mean? I was like, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take all the suggestions that I've heard over the years, and I'm actually going to see if they work. And wouldn't you know it? Merry Christmas. The tips work when you use them. The tips work when you use them. So why don't we try that this year? The great gift we're going to give to ourselves, the Hanukkah, Christmas, Thanksgiving, gratitude, you name it, like present that we need to give to ourselves, is actually trying these skills on for size, right? They don't work. Get back to me. I'll help you. We'll revise them. But yeah, skills can't work unless you use them. And we have to be shifting how we think about all of this, because there's so many of us with the diet drama and the diet trauma that are so like, yeah, I'm sure like for you calling ahead works, but like for me, I just can't do it, right? But like, I understand, like, but my kids just like need me to bring the keep the chocolate chip cookies in my house. Like, let's see what happens if we try it differently. Imagine, worst case, go back to the old way. Worst case, it's your right. It's your right. But we're here to change our lives and have these beautiful, wonderful, loving relationships with food and ourselves. So we're going to have to try to live a bit differently. So, you know what we do now, my loves? We close the kitchen. We put our hand on our heart. We put our hand on our heart for ourselves and our recoveries, for the recovery of our community, our beautiful Breaking Up with Sugar community. We put our hands on our heart for those who are struggling that we don't know, and really for the world at large who needs it more than ever. You know, you being without sugar, without all of your diet drama, makes you so awake, aware, and present. It makes you more available to love and to help and to be of service. That is the ultimate goal, my loves. That is the ultimate goal. Let's stop empowering the food so much, you know? So Amy has closed the kitchen. Who else is closing the kitchen tonight? Hi, Allie. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Emily. Who else is closing the kitchen tonight? Amy's closed the kitchen. Who else? This lag is just so uncomfortable sometimes. I'm going to take a sip of my large water bottle. Ooh, Lisa's closed the kitchen. Hands on her heart. Amazing. Krista's closed the kitchen. Who else? Jean, yay. Lee's closing in an hour. Amazing. Barbara, Diane, incredible. Amy, closed in Delaware. Love it. Love it. Shira, mwah, closed the kitchen. Laura, fabulous. Sherry, Amy, Lori, Nicolene, amazing. Laura J, incredible. Incredible, 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 my friends. So listen, if nobody's told you that they love you today, you know I love you so, so, so much. I will see you next Monday for round 2 of tips. Keep me interested. Like it, share it, leave me ideas. What do I do here? You know the deal. I'm here for you. I got you. Fiercely devoted to your freedom. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.